her riding lessons, Ria is always surprised that her riding instructor responds precisely her mistakes of her seating. How can he deal with the problems she never noticed? Her riding instructor can observe the gap between back and seat and make inferences. If the rider follows the movement of his horse, it remains unchanged. If the seat is flawed, this gap changes more or less. We assume that our horse among us moves with an arched back and without tensions, so that we can sit different paces without any problems. Then we should ride our horse like a backpack. Do not disturb, so it does not cause blocking or tense his back muscles. Often we have become so familiar with our faults that we do not feel it whether a muscle tending, which may not be tense, or having more influences as it seemed to be necessary. This feeling we will only learn when we learn to feel our muscles in the thigh and buttocks. Therefore, we look at the 4 most common mistakes that a rider can make in the thigh and pelvic area. Most clearly can be seen the pushing. The gap is changing very much. You can see that the rider wants to push the horse. To examine the defective work of the abdominal and back muscles, we do little exercise. This exercise you do as following exercises at your own risk. For this we need a stable 4-legged chair on a non-slip bottom. We sit on the front edge of the chair and dump it in a way that he is on his front legs. We begin to forward slightly and bobbing back. We work alternately with the abdominal and back muscles, but while riding, the muscles are to be passively stabilize the position of the upper body. There are also the side movements of the pelvic area, but we do not pay any attention to them in this video. Now back to pushing. In this case, the abdominal and back muscles working too much. This axis is uncomfortable for the horse. The horse tries to escape the pressure and detract the back as it causes a bouncing movement. Not as uncomfortable as pushing is a contraction of the anterior thigh muscles, which almost accompanied by contracting the lower abdominal muscles. It can be seen in the changes at the gap, but also a lost stirrup is an indication to this problem when sitting. Again we bobbing the chair, but this time we press our hands on our knees and press our thighs against our hands. We feel the contraction of the front thigh muscle and lower abdominal muscles. The bobbing will be much harder. The reason for this behavior lies in our subconscious insecurity. If you are uncertain, signals our subconscious that we should go in the embryonic attitude. The knees are tightened, lifted hands bent back, and the head falls forward. Raising up the knees and pressing them in the horse's belly is often caused by the loss of secure hold. This pressing can cause severe pain and should be avoided. In the following exercise, we sit down on the chair again and start to bob. This time we press the knees together. We notice that we contract the inner thigh muscles. The bobbing might be possible, but if we are in the saddle, we give up the extensive contact with the saddle, and our upper body is slightly falling forward. But if we fall forward, it is not possible to follow the movement of the horse. The gap increases, and you have to watch closely to see the changes. A reduced contact with the saddle can be caused by tightening of the buttocks. A reduced contact with the saddle can be caused by a tightening of the buttocks. This may be associated with a strain of the hamstring and lower back muscles. In this case, you see the tendency to lean back. If we sit on the chair and the buttocks pinch together, we realize how we reduce the seat. Bobbing the chair, we know that we are not as soft bobbing as when relaxed. If you look at the gap between the buttock and the saddle, we will see that it's deeper, but it does not change so massively when the inner thigh muscles loose. Now Rhea makes sure that she is a good backpack to her horse. Her legs and glutes lying loose to the saddle. She checks from time to time not to do more than to stabilize her upper body. Just to propel a horse, it said this little thigh muscle, but that's another story.